Hello and welcome to our new series, the Community Empowerment Trainings, or short CETs, hosted by me, Sylvia Becker-Hill, your facilitator, and the Juicy Life Leader Academy. I'm so delighted to have you here, and those of you who are already since quite some time in my world, you know I love to call you my luminaries, because for me, someone who shows up to grow, to learn, who is committed to be the best leader he or she can be. For me, you are the light carriers who are working on the edge of evolution. And we are here all together in my community, committed to create a world-based and gender partnership which works for everyone. So welcome, welcome. Today's training, today we have the 2nd year of February 2021. And today is about the 7 layers of leadership enrollment conversations. And how did we come up with this topic? This is an advantage of you showing up here live, because your questions, your input is literally determining and feeding the design and the content of our future meetings. So showing up here live has several benefits. One is you shape the content, you get your questions answered. Another one is here the opportunity to network. We live here in this community with certain mottos, and one motto, and you all know it, and if you like to say it out loud with me, is my information doesn't provide your transformation, your engagement does. So please use the chat box to introduce yourself, to say hi from where you are chiming in, so our brain can start to create a global map with your name, your face, and where you are in the world, because as you know, our whole world is represented in our brain. And by creating this map inside our own brain, you learn to create here relationships among each other, and you never know where the networking might lead you. So if you are in a job transition, if you launch a project, you have my permission to use the chat box here to communicate with each other, also behind my back, because you probably know you can make individual messages to each other. The Community Empowerment Training Series has a focus on community empowerment. And living here globally now, most of us in a lockdown kind of lifestyle caused by the pandemic, it's so crucial, and one of your benefits, to create real relationships among each other. Given that this is recorded and being shared, you have obviously the choice to stay hidden. You can keep your video closed off. And also, if you don't know that, in the top right corner of your visual screen, if you go there with your cursor, there are 3 little dots. And when you click on them, there is a little drop-down menu where you can rename your name showing up here on the screen. If you want to stay anonymous, delete your name. If you want to support your networking, put in your name. And if you like, your place of currently of your living, or if you have your own business or are representing a corporation, you have my permission to add the name of your brand and your business as well. Let's use Zoom here to our advantage for our networking here. So today is about the 7 layers of leadership enrollment conversations. And here we have, and I want to honor that, I see right now Marilena here from Rome with her crown, and Celia, you want to put on your crown again? Because I want to honor you two for making the effort. I didn't know that you will do that, so I'm not wearing my own crown. This is just here because we are a community. We meet in different forms online, so there will be some community jokes or memes, but please don't worry, you will be integrated here in our community very quickly. So today's theme and training is a result of one of our members' questions from a few weeks ago. And it was stimulated a bit by a political discussion, and yet my business is my political activism. I don't expect you to necessarily agree with everything I'm saying. For me, it's important that you understand that whatever we are doing here, and this will become obvious when you come several times, there's a bit of a formula, there's an agenda, there's a structure of all the meetings. Whatever I'm going to teach you, I will first start to have a discussion with you. How have we learned by our so-called patriarchal culture? Patriarchy is our current paradigm we live in. And how have we learned, for example, now today's theme, how have we learned to enroll, to motivate, to convince others into a change we believe is the right thing to do? For example, right now wearing masks and living a lifestyle of retreat. I believe this is the right thing to do under a global pandemic, but not everyone agrees, especially here in the United States. We still have debates with big groups of people. Or I watched yesterday in Israel, they have in the moment big super spreader events because certain very extreme religious, different groups from different religions, they have in the moment these big gatherings of 25,000 people. And when you see on the news 25,000 people, mainly men, not wearing masks, coming together, it's quite disconcerting for me. So right now, for all leaders around the world, not only pandemic related, but dealing with the effects of the pandemic, change is inevitable. Climate crisis, migration waves, the growing resource gap in the distribution of resources, change is inevitable. And people resist change as a natural reaction from our beloved human brain. So to learn the skill, how to enroll others into a change project, into a change initiative you think is important, and also privately, I know just here there are a few mothers and maybe fathers watching here the replay. Sometimes we want our family members to embrace a change or change their behavior. So what I'm going to teach you, even though I'm always focusing on leadership, obviously you are a leader beyond your corporate life, your business career. When you are in my world, I hope I can inspire you to always be a leader, because for me, a leader is beyond just your role and function in the area of making money. For me, being a leader is an attitude towards life, where you are deliberate, where you are as aware and conscious as you can be, where you are responsible for the choices you are making, and where you are, and this is one of my inspirations I want to bring to you too, by keeping, for example, one of my paintings in the background. Most of you know I'm also a professional artist, beside being a leadership trainer, executive coach, and teacher. And for me, everyone is an artist. And again, in a very broad understanding, because you are creating. You are creating every day your life. Every decision you make, and you make thousands a day, is shaping your life and your environment. So who you are deeply, deeply matters, not only for your own happiness, but literally right now, it matters for the survival of the planet. So please use the chat box. Introduce yourself briefly there by saying hi from where you are chiming in. Feel free to also explain what kind of function and role you have. And I would like to open our discussion here briefly. What do you think is the typical attitude or the typical way we all have been taught and indoctrinated? How do we convince others to change or to embrace a change initiative we believe is the right thing to do? How do we do this when they are resisting it? What is the normal paradigm of doing that inside the patriarchy? Who would like to share? What do you think? What's normal? Someone disagrees with you in something which is important for you and you want him or her to change. What is an accepted normal behavior?
Am I wrong?
What do you mean, am I wrong?
Am I wrong? Also ich zweifle dann.
Oh, you have self-doubt. You think you are
Ja,
wrong
genau.
because the other
Ja.
person, that that is culturally, sadly, something which is quite indoctrinated, especially with women, that when we are standing for a specific change, but the other person is saying no, there is habitually often then the first self-doubt, oops, am I wrong? Because everyone else here seems not to fall in line. So self-doubt is sadly often a side effect from this situation. We want a certain change and others don't. What else? If you are over the self-doubt and you start trying to convince the other person, what is in the patriarchy, because this is how the whole construction of a patriarchal society works. What do you think is the key? And I will teach you today 7 layers of the leadership enrollment conversation. The first layer is the foundation. And before we can learn a new foundation, I need you to be aware what's your automatic foundation. Because whatever I'm teaching you, you are all adults. You are all mature men and women. You know how to do these things, but you have learned them inside a career or an educational system of the patriarchy. So you have learned to convince and enroll others in a patriarchal way. And my philosophy and what I'm doing through the Juicy Life Leader Academy is I'm literally helping you to de-learn, to erase what you have learned, which is not any longer serving you, keep what's serving you, and hopefully give you some new aspects and information how to do it in a better sustainable way, which leads to creating a post-patriarchal society. So what do you think is the foundation for an enrollment conversation in the patriarchy? And enrollment is even not the right word, because enrollment is already a word I have chosen. How do patriarchal leaders, yes, Marilena, maybe call a conversation like that?
I think it's a power game. So trying to convince the others, first probably in a charming way, and then if that doesn't work, imposing something, imposing their own opinion. That's the
Exactly.
classical.
Exactly. We have to be honest here and label and name it as it is. This is how we got all trained. Yeah, in a patriarchy, it's all about domination. It's power over others. So if someone says, no, your change initiative is not the right one, or your strategy is wrong, or how you want to do the project is not the way how we are here in our company are used to do things, well, our ego kicks in and we go into a power conversation. And there, depending on our personality type, sometimes our gender, there are different strategies. We might try to seduce, tempt, flirt the other person through charming into our position. If that doesn't work, then the struggle, the pushing starts. And then we are maybe first intellectually argumentative, we give arguments, and then we turn up the heat, and then we become stronger and stronger, and worst case, in the very end, we turn into bullies, trying to force the other person, okay, if you are not reasonable enough to understand my arguments, well, I have to go to the last resort and just declare you have to do it. I'm your boss, or mother, or father. Do it. So ultimately, enrollment is not really the right word. In the patriarchy, if we communicate from that kind of foundation, and so the old foundation is dominance over others. When we come from that, we start being a temptress, and then in the end, we turn into a bully. So here in my world, and hopefully also in yours, we have to stop doing that. Because when we start to push against the other person and their arguments and their beliefs and their way of doing things, what do we create when we push? Let's make an experiment. Use your right hand, and please, you are all here responsible adults. If you hurt yourself, it's your responsibility, not mine, so be careful. raise your hand, and I think most of you are sitting at a desk or table or something. Use your hand, and I can't show it sadly here on my desk. So imagine this is my desk. Use your hand and put your hand on your desk and push, push, push on your desk or table where you are sitting. And this is my symbol here of my desk because I can't turn here my camera like this. Push, 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 and feel how the desk starts feeling different. What happens to the surface of your table or your desk when you push down on it? What happens?
It pushes back. There's resistance.
Exactly. Even a furniture pushes back against you because you are pushing against it. And my desk, for example, it's quite nicely with lacquer, which feels soft, sort of. It becomes more firm. It becomes harder. It pushes against. So in the patriarchy, when we turn up the heat in our conversations and become bullies and try to push others to agree with us, we create literally a conflict. We create war, and we have a power struggle, which independent from who wins the argument, what is an unsustainable side effect on us? Always. Do you like these kind of conversations? Do you like being forced to be sometimes a bully as a boss or supervisor or family member? What is the unsustainable side effect of this kind of conversation?
Stress.
For me, it's stress. It creates stress and it's exhausting. It is exhausting. And sadly, 9 out of 10 patriarchal strategies have that effect. They are stressful, they are exhausting, and because of all that, unsustainable. Why do you think, sadly, men and women of a certain age and after certain years in corporate have burnouts or get sick? In Japan, I forgot the technical term, there's a technical word for death by work exhaustion, which comes not from the work itself, but the how we work and lead and communicate inside the patriarchy. This is why we are coming here together. This is why I do these free training offerings here, because I want you all to be sustainably successful and happy. Because, and this is something I will teach you to sing from the rooftops, my new meme for the Juicy Life Leader Academy, happy leaders are better leaders. So this you will hear me saying again and again and again and again, happy leaders are better leaders. And the patriarchy is not designed to make you or you or you or you happy. It's not even designed to make you successful. It is designed to make the system successful for a few. And in the process, you get burnt out, exhausted, and sometimes even killed. But who cares? Because inside the patriarchy, you're just an asset. You don't matter. You're just an asset and a resource. And this is why, for me, my business is my activism. I'm taking a stand to change that. I know we can change this together. So that is what we are leaving behind. From today on, I want you to promise me, type in the chat box if you agree. I promise, type it in the chat box. I want you to stop trying through temptation or bullying to convince others, because even if you win short term, long term you lose. Because in the patriarchy is a lose-lose game. Very few, a tiny elite wins, but ultimately it's a lose-lose game. There are no winners. So please promise me you stop that. And by this, I take a deep breath. My husband just brought me my morning coffee. Let me have a sip.
Ooh, that looks good.
Thank you, thank you. It's hot. I have a tendency to leave my coffees and teas all around the house because I'm sometimes so distracted, and then they get cold. And then, so for me, it's always so rare that I get a hot coffee. So I'm teaching you now the 7 non-patriarchal layers of leadership enrollment conversation. And I want to say first something about the word enrollment, because inside my women's Facebook group, someone mentioned if the word enrollment is maybe not the right one. I'm choosing this word deliberately because in the patriarchy, these kind of conversations, they are coming from dominance. They are leading often to conflicts. They are convincing. They are conversations where sometimes people use manipulation. So I was looking for a word which is more in the direction of mutual co-creation, where we enroll each other, where we enroll the other person to say yes, where we enroll ourselves to say yes to something we believe in. So for me, the word enrollment, just even from the sound, is just better fitting, but English is not my mother language. It could be that there are even better words, and nothing I'm teaching you is written into stone. This whole model here is 2-3 weeks old because I recently created it live, triggered by a question from one of our other members. So please, if you find after I taught you today the model a better word, please share. I'm not attached to any of this. This is my research today on the 2nd of February. By the way, isn't that a beautiful number? If any one of you is into numerology, the 2nd of the 2nd in 2021, there's something with the 2, so it's somehow beautiful. So the foundation, we just discussed the old one inside the patriarchy we have to leave. So what do you think is a new healthy foundation when we want to, as leaders, as luminaries, create a world based in gender partnership that works for everyone? What has the foundation to be? Instead of dominance, what does it need to be?
Partnership.
Yes, yes, exactly. Marilena, you got it. Instead of dominance, we have to go here, eye level, equal level. For me, the word there is, the key word is connection. For me, the key word here, and let me write it beside it, connection. The new foundation is connection. Instead dominance, it's connection. And that is something, a disclaimer for nearly all my models. People come to me, my executive clients, they always want an answer to a problem in their world where, so be careful, please mute yourself if you're not speaking, someone has some background noise. It's normal for us humans when there is a problem to point our fingers into the world where the problem seems to come from. So most of my clients, they ask for advice or a strategy or a coaching process to solve the problem in the outside world. Other people, right? Other people are the problem. Yet you will learn and see that all my problems, they don't start with the other people, they start with us. Leadership, leading other people, always, 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 did I say always? Starts first with us. So when I say connection, you have someone in front of you, and the person who triggered this whole model, she is very active in politics here in the United States regarding Democrats, Republicans. So for her, it was quite heated. She has a lot of conversations with party members of the opposing party. So imagine you have someone in front of you where there are a lot of things where you are not agreeing, where you have probably even some heated emotions, where there is, in German we call it thick air between the two of you. Is that a metaphor which makes sense for English-speaking people too? So imagine you have someone in front of you where there is thick air between you and that person. How do you create connection? And that is something, obviously we have here today only an hour. I give you the 7 layers, and behind every layer, there's a whole course inside the Juicy Life Leader Academy to get to that point. And I can't do this here in a free public 1-hour training. So I give you all the questions to ask yourself to get you on the right path. So the first question, when you enter a room where you maybe know you're meeting a whole team, which is against your change plan, the first question, you need to find an answer for that specific situation. Because it's the other thing, all my processes, they work, they are powerful, and they are not one size fits all situations answers. I give you questions so that you find the fitting answer for that situation, because making connection with a whole team is different from making the connection with a party member of the opposing party, or making the connection with a family member inside your home. So the question is, how can I, inside myself, create a connection with the other person? And if you are not able to do that, I highly recommend you don't have that conversation in that moment. If you still feel outraged inside of yourself because this team is just so stupid and they are not getting it, or this party member is just such a horrible, horrible person, or your family member is just so, you can't have a non-patriarchal conversation. If there is no connection, you will, I promise you, if there's no connection, you will fall back into the tempting or manipulating or bullying style of conversation, period. And I don't say that as a judgment, it's just neutral, it's how we function. So connection first. The second one, again, will be different depending with whom you talk. What do I mean with obstacles? When we enter any situation, because we are adults, we have a lifetime already behind us. I'm 54, so I have an accumulation of 54 years of experiences. And obviously, if the person I want to enroll is a team member I'm working with for a few years, or as a family member I live with my whole life because it's maybe my son or my daughter, there is a story, there is a history between the person and me already. And that history creates assumptions and beliefs in our minds. Well, I know this team. I'm working with them for 5 years. Every time I start a new initiative, they come up with the same 3 arguments why we can't do this. So when the key obstacle for a good enrollment conversation is literally all our biases. Here right now in the United States, the 2-party memberships, oh my gosh, the biases of Republicans against Democrats and Democrats against Republicans. If people are not owning up to their own biases and let those go first in their own brain, there will never be harmony between these 2 parties. And yes, it's an US example, but you can take it globally. My post-patriarchal ideal world is one based in diversity and inclusion. Christians, Jews, Muslims, black, white, yellow, purple, gender continuum from, cis, male, female, diversity and inclusion. When we are not learning how to let go of our stories, biases, and assumptions about the other religion, the other race, the other gender, forget about it. You will stay stuck in the patriarchy. You have the permission to interrupt me when you have a question. You just unmute yourself, wave, and start talking. You can even interrupt me. I'm German. I don't take any offenses, and political correctness is not a paradigm I'm operating in. I'm not living that. Yeah, we need to bust political correctness. So please engage here, and especially when you sense your own energy is going down or your mind wanders and you're not any longer engaged. Remember, my information doesn't provide your transformation, your engagement does. So wake up, use a chat box to communicate with each other. I'm not good in multitasking. I can't manage the chat box. But one of you, if you see something valuable there, also give it a voice, and you have my permission to ask questions. Sile, I see you.
Yes, Sylvia, I just want to say that there is a message from Natasha, and
Yes.
she says, I get frustrated when bullying people don't see reason. what do you do about bullies who only want to subjugate you? Which is a good question, actually.
Yes.
It's one that I would have as well.
Yes, a super important question, especially nowadays. So part of the foundation and connection level, another word I was a bit fighting with when I designed my own model, if I use the word foundation and then connection, or if I use the word understanding. So on that level, number one is also the word important for me, understanding. A bully is always someone where the fear center in the brain is triggered. Bullies are bullies because out of fear. It's a bit like you walk through a back alley and suddenly a dog is growling at you. Why is a dog growling at you? Because the dog is scared of you. Bullies have their fear button triggered, and now they react out of their ego center in the brain. So for me, when I'm getting bullied, and this is a whole big course inside my academy. It's about ego management, because when a bully attacks me, my ego gets obviously easily triggered too. So it takes a lot of ego management inside of us to not get triggered and to remember, ooh, that person right now bullying me, attacking me, trying to dominate me, believes has no other choice. Believes has no other way of communicating with me. There is some fear button triggered in that person, which means the question I need to ask myself on this first level, how do I connect with a bully? My question is, what can I do to make this person feel more safe right now? Or if I need some ego management, even going a bit earlier into the whole emotional chain, how can I get to some compassion for that person, knowing there is some fear triggered? Giving here a hot example, I researched when in 2016, when Trump showed up as a candidate, and I was so disgusted by him and didn't want him to become elected. And there were so many things he said and did. I didn't understand how people can give him, especially the media, so much stage time on TV, being such a bully. So I wanted to understand, why is he the bully he is? So I read about his biography. I read about his family. I read about his difficult early childhood. That doesn't mean I accept what he did. That doesn't mean that I start liking him. Oh gosh, yeah, I'm still disgusted by him. But it gives me information which explains to me what his fear buttons are. And well, I was not part of the political power games here in the United States, but I would have loved to, because there were a lot of mistakes done, especially by the media and a lot of other politicians who literally didn't understand Trump early enough. And so for me, the key here to deal with bullies is you need to understand where they are coming from, what are their fear buttons, and as a practical thing for you on your side, beside your own ego management, you need to feel safe. And the core question always there is, in the face of that bully, what do I need right now to feel safe? And sometimes it's that very practical thing to leave the space, or to leave the room of that bully, to manage yourself. I always say, in every office building, there are restrooms. And restrooms are the most important leadership self-management spaces in the world, because there you have a little stall where you can hide, close the door, breathe, put a hand on your heart, hand on your solar plexus. I mean, I have a long list of ego management tools for yourself, so that you get out of the fear state. You can't fight a bully when your own fear button is triggered. Then you have the classic patriarchal fight. And then it's about dominance, and the person in the higher hierarchy, dominance, over you by the structure of your company will win, or if it's about something physical, sadly. I mean, especially women, we know how physical abuse, emotional abuse, and sexual abuse looks and feels like. So there is sadly then a level of danger where sometimes removing oneself from the situation is the first obligation of leadership in order to keep you safe. So long answer and still not completely satisfying, because literally the question here from Natasha is, it's a huge complex thing. But given the time we have today and me wanting to finish this model, can I have one or two voices of feedback? Was that sort of satisfying what I just explained? Does it make sense? Can I see either some thumbs up or some nodding? Okay,
Yes,
awesome.
absolutely.
Awesome.
It would be an amazing continued conversation, but I understand how we can't continue right now.
Well, as always, I take your input. This Tuesday series is the new community empowerment training series, and I will develop the content based on your input. So just send me afterwards an email with how you would like to get trained after the whole model. Where are the things you want to go deeper? Just tell me, and please also accept some things are too complex for this format here. And I'm launching the Academy in March, and you all get anyway access to it to a super low launch price. So there are also other ways to go deeper with different topics. Okay, I go back here to the model. We talked about foundation, obstacles, the biases and assumptions we have to let go in ourselves. Number 3, this is a word which a lot of people don't find attractive: professionalism. I love this word. I'm proud to be professional, and I'm not always professional. So how do I define professional? For me, and if my husband would hear this now, he would laugh, because he probably would not believe that I love this. For me, professionalism is about being prepared. Very simple, about being prepared and doing my work up front. This is, again, I'm not the patriarchal bully who triggered rushes into the conversation and tries through dominance and shaking the other person to convince them. No, I sit down and I prepare. I think about the other person. I think about how do I connect. I think about what are my biases and assumptions. How can I let go of those so that what could be a nice positive word? It's a bit like a blank, white, is it the expression white canvas, blank canvas, white slate? What is the English expression for that? Anne-Marie, I think.
Blank slate.
Blank slate. Okay, the blank slate. Yeah, it's a positive counter word. So it's important that we manage our inner mind to have this blank slate attitude. The professionalism is, for me, the part where I invest a few minutes of time to sit down, write things down, my arguments, where I think about the other person, where I could emotionally create this heart-to-heart connection. Yes, Marilena.
Yes, and I think it is important to try to put ourselves into the shoes of the others and think, what are their needs? What is it that they would want to achieve? So that if we present our idea, it can be a win-win. So, yeah.
Yes, absolutely perfect, because this putting yourself into the other person's shoes, that strengthens a sense of connection, and that informs you for your arguments, what arguments would be of value for the other person. And all that happens here as a professional leader in being prepared. Preparedness. Please forgive me if I do some misspellings or create weird words. The next piece, being an artist, I love especially, the next layer, number 4, is art. And this is not about that you always need to paint, that you take photos. For me, the art is, as the word, is a reminder to paint a picture through your words. If you want to enroll someone else, as a leader, you are also a visionary. Even if it's not, it depends a bit on personality types, characters. Some people are natural visionaries. For some leaders, it's a bit of work to step into that archetype. But as a leader, it's part of your job description to be sometimes a visionary. And visionary means you have a vision of what the change you want here the other person to agree to, what, as Marilena said, are the benefits for that person, that group, and in general for yourself and the whole world. So paint a picture through your words, through your arguments. And the word art is just, for me, the word as a reminder. You have to share your vision, paint a picture, because painting a picture evokes emotions, hopefully positive ones, in the other person. So vision, paint a picture, evoke positive emotions. That is behind level 4, which is the art. Paint a picture. Another cool saying is a picture says more than 1,000 words. Instead of giving 1,000 arguments and the 98 pages proposal, take 3 minutes and create a beautiful picture. Let's do this right now here for all of us. Close your eyes, lean back, take a few deep breaths, and allow yourself, as a picture on the horizon, allow yourself to envision how a world based in true gender partnership, where wars are things of the past, where resources are shared equally, where things like education and art and health are of higher value in economies than just accumulation of profit and growth. Imagine that world. Imagine how it would feel to live in a world where other people are not immediately enemies and competitors, but collaborators for co-creating a world together that works for everyone. Where the other, skin color or religious background or gender, is not scary. Where people who are different are interesting and amazing, and are a mirror for yourself to discover the common threads of humanity and also your beautiful uniqueness, because they are different and you are different, and we all are unique in unity. Take a deep, deep breath and allow the inspiration and the empowerment of that vision inform your whole body and the way you are listening to my training here. Open your eyes when you are willing to come back to us. But if you like to stay in the vision, do, because that might serve you even more than my training here. I would love to hear from someone who has not said anything today. How did that feel? What is the difference to visualize a future than me just talking about it? Who would like to share? Odeline, do I pronounce your name correctly? Yes, my dear. How was that?
You know, I felt when I joined, I liked all the examples you gave, especially the one about the dog. It changed me because, every time I would look at a dog barking at me, I'm afraid of it, not knowing that it is the one which is afraid of me, which means when I closed my eyes and took that breath, I saw a changed person. I saw myself walking into a room. full of my team members or subordinates, and all smiling to see me, because now I am in the right direction.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. I just got goosebumps running up and down my body when you were sharing. Several people here are nodding. Celia, you too, Marilena. Thank you so much for your share. Did you all hear that? Could you feel that? She saw herself entering a room as a leader and everyone was smiling towards her. That is what I'm talking about here. And that image alone, also as an image, what is an enrollment conversation? When you do these first things, the first three here are before you even enter and meet the other person. When you do this right, the result has already happened in you. And use this beautiful vision of Odelini that you enter enrollment conversations and the other person is already smiling at you because you are not jumping in as the barking dog where the other person needs to protect themselves from being bitten, but as a luminary who brings light for the other person and the world. Thank you. I'm so glad I asked you. Awesome. Next piece, number 5, and that is something I must admit I struggled for years. It's training. It's training, which means repetition. It means trial and error. It means going into a conversation with the willingness that it might fail and then do it again. It's the commitment to not stop after one failed attempt. Training, the positive word here is repetition. Repetition. It's about not giving up and knowing as more often you do this kind of conversation with different people, but even with the same person, you are becoming better and better and better and better and better in doing that. When the other person says no in your first time, most people, sadly, because they take the no personal, they stop. They don't go back. They don't try again. What if we see every failed enrollment conversation simply as a training session? Who of you does yoga or Pilates or goes to the gym or does any kind of regular movement regime with your body? Who of you knows that if you don't keep going to the gym, the yoga, Pilates, whatever class, your muscles, they fall apart again, they atrophy, they resolve again. Gosh, I hate that so much. I go for weeks, 2-3 times to Pilates, I'm strong, and then for whatever reason, for 1 or 2 weeks, I don't, and everything dissolves again. Because training is repetition. And as leaders, and believe me, this is from my personality type, oh my gosh, I hated repetition. I fought with so many of my mentors when they wanted me to do things twice or 100 times and train things. Oh my gosh, was I literally fighting with them. But it's also part of being a professional. And I say that as a master of winging. For decades, I was winging everything because I'm confident, I'm creative, and I'm good in winging. But for difficult enrollment conversations, winging is not the right strategy because you can't always trust your luck. So training. Number 6 and 7 are the more complex, most difficult ones, and they take time. And yet again, here, I want to give you the path, and then take some time and more training with me and or with other trainers who are similar like me, if you find one who is as crazy as me. 6 and 7, it's alignment and embodiment. What do I mean with that? Alignment, those of you who went through my Women's Empowerment School, you know that this is a core principle of my philosophy, how we in a post-patriarchal society will produce and create anything. It's part of my philosophy of the huge paradigm shift. In the patriarchy, we create through force, through pushing. So through, like symbolically, through the sledgehammer, I bang on things, and then I use another tool and lots of force, and I'm forcing things into existence. I'm a Harry Potter fan and a Tinkerbell fan. I completely believe in magic. And for me, magic is not outside the rules or the laws of science. For me, magic, the seemingly effortless, graceful results happen through alignment. And alignment means in different contexts, different things. As the word itself, alignment means, for example, right now my hands are not aligned. Alignment symbolically means I bring things together where they align well. Like this is not yet good alignment. Now my hands are in good alignment. So alignment in different of my courses could mean alignment between your conscious mind behind your forehead and your subconscious mind in the older lower parts of your brain. Alignment could mean between your mind and your heart. Alignment between mind, heart, and your belly, your gut. Alignment could be between your goals and the goals of your team or the goals of the person in front of you. Alignment could mean that you need to check in what values in the conversation, in the topic you want to change inside of you are important, what values in the other person are important, and are these values aligned, especially in the corporate economy world. I mean, pandemic, oh my gosh, most conflicts in the last 1.5 years during the pandemic were caused by not aligned values. Here in the United States, shall we shut down or not shut down? Mask wearing or not mask wearing? What is right now more important, to keep businesses open so that money flows and profit can still be made and people keep their job? Or do we protect people, close down things and then protect their health? Yeah, protecting jobs, protecting health. Well, in my world, in the patriarchy, it's an either or. Yeah, we either protect jobs or protect health. In a post-patriarchal world where we use art and creativity, we come to solutions where we align the two, where we align job protection and health and life protection. So alignment can show up specifically in the specific situation in a gazillion different ways. What I use to sense the alignment, and this is now the word I'm writing here, which might surprise some of you. I write here sensuality, and that leads also to the next one, the body, because you sense in your body. So when I say sensuality, I don't mean sexuality, I mean your senses. And I don't not only mean the 5 senses of tasting, smelling, hearing, touch, and one I forgot now, whatever it is. I mean also your higher senses. It's you sense if you are off, 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 or if you are in alignment. And the place where you sense the alignment, it's literally in your body. You sense in a conversation, in the enrollment conversation, when it clicks. Do you know what I mean? Please show me with body language, nodding or thumbs up. You know when it's clicking, when a whole group, when an argument was made or something shifted and the whole group, it clicks. It's a sensation in our body. Poof. That's it. That's the solution. We got it. I enrolled them. We got it. Ah. So alignment needs work, needs awareness, needs sometimes something letting go. So it's a complex topic. Learn and train to use your body as your sensual thermometer, your central, what is the name of the machine which measures if there's an earthquake or not? A seismograph, is that an English word? Yeah, use your body for your alignment graph, your alignment seismograph. Use your body to sense how much are you off or aligned. Linda, are you with me? You look like you are thinking very hard right now about something else. You want to ask
I am. No,
I can
not
see
something
that.
else. Not something else. I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, yes. And you can use that in so many different situations. Personally, with one person, or I mean, yeah, you can feel when the alignment
Yes,
isn't right, but having that awareness can now allow you to act on it.
exactly.
Oh, I'm not aligned. I better turn around and do something to hopefully pull back
Yes.
into alignment. I was just going, wow, yeah.
Yeah, wow, exactly. And I want to underline for all of you what Linda just said. The whole thing here is a model you can even translate beyond enrollment conversations. Especially the alignment factor, as I said in a side note, for me, this is how we create the post-patriarchal world. Okay, here time, let's finish it up. Number 7, embodiment. Ooh, embodiment. You see here the connection to the alignment. Embody, body, embodiment. For me, this is, to quote this sadly slightly overused and often misunderstood quote from Mahatma Gandhi, you have to be the change you want to see in the world. You have to embody that change. If you are a diversity manager inside your company, but you treat certain people like shit, you are not embodying your role, your vision as a diversity manager. If you talk about peace and harmony, but you yell left and right nasty comments about the performance of colleagues, you are not embodying love and peace. If you want, family members to do certain things, but you never do them yourself, I'm sometimes guilty with that with my boys. Right now, I'm working so hard on launching so many things. I live in my office or my art studio, and my poor boys, I'm making them clean the kitchen twice a day. Guess how often I clean the kitchen right now? Well, maybe twice a week or months, right? So, yeah, but hello. There's patriarchal dominance. I'm the mother. They are just my sons. We are still in transition, right? The gender partnership starts when they are adults, but now they are still under my power. So embodiment is, for me, this is a lifelong journey. Yeah, I mean, especially when we go into leadership. What does it mean to live and be an embodied leader of the new paradigm? To be an embodied patriarchal leader is easy. We don't need to do any self-management. You just are. Everyone is an embodied patriarchal leader. Because this is how society has trained us to be. So, embodiment, what could be the positive word? Let's see. I have it in my notes. Charisma. For me, the nice benefit or power of embodiment is charisma. And there is, sadly, when you read articles, by the way, 9 out of 10 times I'm not agreeing with mainstream. So mainstream says that charisma is something people have or they don't. It's like something you are gifted with by nature, God, or you don't, or genes or whatever. For me, charisma is something which occurs naturally as an radiance, this sounds now woo-woo, but it's something which you can sense. Someone enters a room, and some people you hardly notice, you can't even feel them. They are energetically not there. And someone else comes in the room and you are like, oh my gosh, it's like the bully who takes up all the space and pushes everyone against the wall. And then someone else comes in the room and you relax. You start to feel safe. You are curious, you sort of feel attracted to that person, you feel inspired, you don't even know exactly why, because you've never met them, but that's charisma. Charisma is someone who embodies what they stand for, and that makes them attractive, and that pulls people towards them, that wants people to be with them. I remember in my mid-20s, one of my very first big spiritual teachers, she was an older American lady who facilitated workshops back in Germany. And I remember I just met this woman and was with her for a few minutes, and I decided, wow, whatever this woman has done to be like that, here's my credit card, I sign up for that. Because I wanted to be like that. That is embodiment. That is charisma. So when you do all the levels of work and you embody the change you want to see in the world, then your job becomes really easy. Then you don't need a lot of arguments. Then your beingness, your charisma helps you to make the whole enrollment super easy. That's it. These are the 7 layers of leadership enrollment conversation. And this was our very first community empowerment training. I will do here a bit of rounding up the official part, stop the recording. And for those of you who want to stay 15 minutes longer, they can. But here for the official ending, because this will be shared with my email list and probably will go up on YouTube. This community is for men and women, because we are luminaries who are working on a post-patriarchal society, which is based in gender partnership. So please, everyone here, bring some men. We need men here as well. We are in the moment dominant. We are mainly women here because of just the recent years. It was 2016 and the election of Trump, president of the United States, which made me focus publicly in my marketing on women's empowerment. And now we have more women than ever in Congress and Senate and a female vice president. I can focus now back on my whole always mission, which is fostering true partnership between men and women, not because I'm a feminist, which I am, but that's not the reason. It's because the world needs it. All evolutionary trends show that diversity and inclusion is what the world needs literally to survive, to solve climate crisis, to solve migration waves, to solve poverty issues, access issues, discrepancy, everything. We need diversity and inclusion. So to finish here officially, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming. We will have here a non-recorded Q&A in a few moments. If you are watching here the replay and I'm not clear about where are you, who are we, please sign up for these free community empowerment trainings. There's a new simple sign up. The webpage is the usual 3 W's. Please, someone type it here in the chat box. juicylifeleader.com, one word, juicylifeleader.com/free training. Very easy to remember, free training. Very simple. We meet from now on for, I don't know how long, maybe for years, till we have the post-patriarchal paradigm established worldwide, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific. And I hope you will join us, because when you join live, you can network in the chat. The chat will not be saved by me and shared. Everyone here for you, if you want to save the chat, you can do this on the bottom of your screen, chat box. You click on it, there's a little button, save chat, please do so. There are benefits of showing up live, because you can shape in collaboration with me literally the future content of our trainings here, because your questions trigger my beautiful genius brain. Like this model didn't exist at the beginning of the year. It was triggered by a question from one of our community members. This is a free offering I have, because for me, my expertise is my gift to the world. My business is my political activism. So everyone here live or in the replay, please share the sign-up link. Share it with men and women. The key, what I ask you to be aware of, I want people who are willing to change. I want people here in this community who are willing to be luminaries, to bring light to a world which is suffering right now really, really heavily. And the world needs you, and you, because you matter, and happy leaders are better leaders. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Sylvia.